Hello, good morning, and welcome. Welcome to Poker for Muppets once again, and it's me, it's your host, Pluto Man. Right, so this is Triple Draw, and I don't play this very often. In fact, I've only ever put up one video for this, and I think I haven't played Triple Draw. I hadn't played Triple Draw since then until last Sunday when I played this tournament, and it was just a Sunday when I couldn't really do anything. It was wet. I was going to be playing tennis, well, I couldn't do that. So, um, so yeah, triple draw it was. Interesting little tournament. So, see what happens. Happened. So the very first hand, I get complete garbage in the big blind. Um, and so if anybody raises, anybody does anything apart from just limp, then I'm out of the way. So G flower just limps there. I don't think I would probably do that with any hand, but I don't think it's absolutely terrible doing that in the small blind. Draws three, I draw four. He checks and I check back. I've sort of improved a little bit to the 8-6. Three, three again, I draw three, and the fact that he didn't bet the previous time when he drew three means he probably has a reasonable draw there. My 8-6-2, pot's tiny, I just get out of the way, even though I sort of hit something. Now, this guy's sitting out, this Sing Mark is sitting out here, so, I mean, he's from Belgium, not that means anything, doesn't affect my decision. But I have got him as green from probably some different game. So I've got 8-5-3, which is not fantastic, but I absolutely have to call there because of the dead money there, right? I think even without the dead money, yeah, it probably needs to be a call. 8-5-3. Don't have any blockers, which is a shame. So it goes one. He just draws one. Okay, I draw two. I have to call here again just because the odds I'm getting. And I improved. My one card draw isn't fantastic. He should be betting every hand here. I'm gonna have to call no matter what. Okay, so I draw again. Now the big question is, what do I do here? Now he pats this. I remember he patted this. I have number 11, and I quickly check. I don't think of betting directly into him, and I'm wondering there whether I should have done that. I'm bet folding there. I think that might have been the play to bet, and then if he raises to just fold. That's probably the play there. That's probably what I need to do. Looks like someone sent me a message. Well, I will deal with that when I can. So on the button here now, I've got 4 and 2. Again, there's a little bit of dead money in here. 4-2 with a 4 blocker as well. So it's another wheel card that somebody doesn't have. I think I have to raise this. Um, just so 3-3. Now I don't bet this. Now normally you want to bet when you're a card ahead or if you improve. So if it was 2-2 and I improved to a 1 card draw, I would definitely bet there. But 3-3 improving to a 2 card draw, I don't bet, and that's because Cincinnati has probably most of the time it's going to improve to some extent, right? So anyway, so what does he do? He draws two, right? And I draw two. And this time, if he bets, so I check it back. Now, I don't know whether that's the right thing to do. I could have bet there because I have kind of improved to a 9 draw, which is nothing to be sneezed at in this situation. I also have a 2 blocker there too, so I'm guessing betting there is probably not too bad. Then if he check raises me, that would be weird. What would I do then? Probably end up calling and not liking life at all. I don't know what I'd do then. So I decide to just take my equity here and just check it back. I don't think it could be terrible to do that. Maybe if I bet there, I'm betting too much. So 1-1. So he checks and I bet just for sheer value. You have to bet that. You have to bet that and hands worse than that too. If I hit a 10-9, 5-4-2, I'd have to bet that. Jack. I think that's where it gets a little bit less clear to me, but it's an obvious bet. Even though the pot's small, He should be calling with a lot of hands worse than this. He's thinking about it, he's thinking about it, he's thinking about it, he's thinking about it. It's a small pot, actually, and he makes the call. I think I get to see a little bit later. I didn't look immediately, but I did look a little bit later on. So another hand I can play. So I'm actually getting a lot of playable hands. This is, I haven't skipped any here. This is, not yet anyway. I'm going to skip through some in a minute. But so this time it goes through, three bets go in here. I've got, obviously I had a good hand, 5, 4, 2, 2, 2, 1. Right, so now I hit 6 and 3. So I've actually got a straight at the moment. And in this spot, you need to get rid of the 6. It might seem obvious, but maybe it's not obvious. You need to get rid of the 6 here. If, on the other hand, you had a different thing, so if you had 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, you would also get rid of the 6. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, you'd get rid of the 7. So in normal, if you don't have this particular hand, you would actually get rid of the second highest card. But so if you have 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, you must get rid of the 6. They do not get rid of the 7. That would be awful. So yeah, just have to think about the hands you can make if you which card you get. So you can make the nuts here. So anyway, so I call, he raise. I have to stay in the hand, right? So he's pat, and I go and hit a king. So I brick out, and I'm thinking my 7's going to be good here. And he's pat. This is really weird. This is really weird. Okay. So and the no bets go in. That's so bizarre. You're going to see a lot of bizarre stuff in this tournament. No bets go in there at all. So I get a free hit at this. Isn't that fantastic, right? Getting infinity to 1 odds here. That's just wonderful. And I get to of course, I completely miss again. By the way, this is not a straight in the triple draw games or deuce to 7 low ball games. So single draw is the same thing, which is a game I'm much more au fait with and comfortable with. This does not count as a straight, so because it doesn't matter here because Cincinnati's not going to have a hand worse than this. But say if they both drew 1 here, there'd be a chance that this could actually win at showdown because it counts as an ace 5, 4, 3, 2, so an ace high hand. I don't know why that's the rule. I don't know why that's the rule. The ace must always play high for high in this game. They don't allow an ace to play for low as a straight. I think it should count as a straight personally. But anyway, that's how this one. It doesn't. It's immaterial here. So because it seems like Cincinnati just has a crappy pat hand. 10-8 and you don't go and sing. Mark doesn't bet that. He had, what was it, number? Let's go back a little bit. What did he have exactly? Was it number 10 or number 11? He's got to bet. They're not betting there is absolutely appallingly awful. So now I think I have skipped through a little bit now. About 7 or 8 minutes. I just open up my 8-3-2 on the button and an absolute no-brainer raise. Now I've got a really good hand. I've got a four cards to an 8. So anytime you have 4 cards to an 86. Doesn't even matter if you don't have a deuce. This is one of the ones where you can always play it even without a deuce. I do have a deuce here. And we go 3-3-1. This is like a dream spot for me, isn't it? Really. 3-3-1. And of course I miss. And now I miss again. But it's still 2-2-1. So I have to bet here. Absolutely have to bet. But this guy bets directly into me. That's shite. That's really, really bad. Don't do that. You always need to let the guy who drew the fewest cards bet first. So I have an automatic bet there, and he should be check raising me if he wants to get aggressive and get an extra bet in there. I'm no expert on this game. I'm really not an expert at all. I've never done very well in it, but I know that at least. So I do have a blocker here. I pick up another deuce, and so he then goes and goes. So I have to call. I'm not liking life here, but of course I'm getting double figure odds practically, or 9.5 to 1, I think it was on that call. So I have to call, knowing that he drew 2 there, so he could easily have a worse hand than what I'm drawing to here. But let's see. Last draw now. So yeah, he is pat, and I completely miss, and he folds. What do? I fold as well. So, I mean, unless he's running some sort of elaborate bluff there, into two people, and the chance of that are so remote, even though he drew two, and I've got a queen. If I'd had a 10, I might have been curious there and would have called him down, maybe. A 9 for sure, even though with either of those hands, I would have been pretty sure I wouldn't have had the best hand, but you know, the top of your kind of missing range, if you like, is what you want to call with there, and a queen I just don't think is good enough. Who knows though? So now skip forward a little bit. Only going for 10 minutes, right? So that this was the hand which he called me with when I had that 98. Where was it? Found it finally there. So yeah, there it is. So he called me with that, right? So he was getting like 3-1 on a call, and he called me with that hand, right? So I mean, I'm not going to be bluffing very much there because the pot's so small. I don't think he should have that in his calling range at all. Um, I mean, I'll bluff there sometimes. I think he needs to, probably only be calling with unpaired hands there or something. I mean, I don't know. Feels like if he's calling with that, he's calling with basically everything. I mean, obviously he could have hit 8-8, so I make a note of that. So I already have a note that he likes to pat rough hands. Um, I mean that hand where he had 10, right? So he made so much is going on here. Actually, there's a lot to think about. He so he went multi-way. He had I think it was 10-8-6-4-2, and the people had two draws to come, and he patted it. Like that doesn't make any sense. So this guy is actually just not very good. Let's be honest about it. It's a $3.30 tournament, so you're going to get people who aren't very good, and I don't profess to be very good either at this game. But it was interesting to play this and realise there's a lot of people in this who aren't very good. So I've got 8-3-3. This is not a good hand. I'll be dumping it to any raise here. I think you have to, but I do have a blocker in that second three. But anyway, I get to see the draw. I've sort of improved a little bit, but now it's one of the rare occasions that I'm actually going to fold the flop. The fact that so how did it go? Just go back a little bit. So he drew two, right? The fact that he didn't actually put any, voluntarily put, well, he just limped in. He just completed the small blind. Uh, maybe, and then he comes out firing on the flop, means he's probably got something pretty decent there. And my 8-5-3, it would be okay to see the second draw, I suppose. But yeah, he's drawing one here. I could get raised as well. I think it's a little bit of a tight fold there. As it happens, I'm quite glad that they got out of the way because they went a bit nuts there, right? Unsurprisingly, because he's got a 7, and in the way it played out, I was not surprised to see him have a hand like this. Yeah, it's exactly the sort of thing I expected him to see. So, as it turned out, getting out of the way there was good because if I'd made my hand, it would have been a losing hand. But it's being results oriented, and I don't know whether that was the right thing to do. I think it was really close. So here I've got 4-3-2 with a 2 blocker again. Think about the blockers; they matter in this game quite a lot, more than in single draw, more than in say Badugi as well. Because here there's a real premium on making a big hand, right? A hand that's close to the nuts. And there's other two games you don't need a hand close to the nuts to have a very very strong hand and potentially a winning hand that can win a big pot even. Um, so I've got essentially a 4-3-2-2. This is one of the best two card draws you could possibly have. Now, I think there's a bit of a debate really as to whether 7-3-2 or 4-3-2 is the best. Doesn't really matter. I think they're both very very good. Obviously, you're drawing very smooth here, so whatever two cards you hit, like 8-6, 8-7, you're going to have the best cards underneath that. Obviously, if you have 7-3-2, well then you've got more chance of actually making the nuts. So it's probably a bit of a wash, I suppose. That so I mean, I think three betting here probably wouldn't be too bad because this guy Cincinnati isn't very good. Another thing to remember is a tournament, so the chips that the picking up extra chips, the chips that you can gain are not worth as much as the ones that you could lose. There's a little bit of that too. So because it's a tournament, you want to sort of err on the side of not raising. Whereas you, so normally re-raising with a two-card draw is not very good. So I've hit pretty well. I've got a 7. I've got a blocker to another wheel blocker 2. So I've got 2 2s, 2 4s here. I decide I didn't bet that, did I? So I'm playing very passively here actually. So I've got 10. Now what do I decide to do now? So I've got number 10. And so he's decided to bet there. He didn't play. I'm thinking whether I should actually be betting this, but anyway, I decide not to. So I decide he checks, and when he calls, I'm thinking, well, you don't really like to see that because it's reducing here the chance that my hand is good. I've got a good hand. I've got number 10, but the fact that he bets, you've got to beat both of these guys. But I make the call. The pot's big, pretty big. I make the call, and he has number 3. Wow. Okay. It's a complete lack of anything sensible before the draw or on the first draw with that. None of it made any sense. And then I want to see what the other guy had. See what he had. I think it's always important to see what people have. You get the opportunity to do that, so you need to take it. Wow! Wow, 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 wow. Okay, 98754. So he's playing complete shite before the draw. So he's got no idea about his pre-draw ranges there. So decided to get some money in with this one. Notice that I've dropped down. I've lost a lot of chippage. Got a blocker there too. Because I've improved significantly, I have to go and bet there. And he just folds, which is kind of interesting. So even though I didn't have like a made hand, I only had a 10. Ooh, I fold here. Now that's interesting. 743. Like my rule here is I normally on the button I'd open raise 743, but on the cutoff here I will only raise it if I have some nice blockers to go with it. And I had 9-9 to go with it, so I'm feeling my hand's a little bit too weak for this. So I decide to just yeah to just fold, right? So anyway, see how this one plays out. I'm not involved here. See what happens. 3-2-2, interesting. A lot of money going in before the draw, considering it went 3-2-2. Okay. Last draw now. 1-1-0. He checks back 9-7. So yeah, okay. It's pretty standard, I suppose. What have I got here? Now this one's interesting. Now should I be doing this? So I'm under the gun 5-handed. I think this is marginal. It's a hand that's going to get you into trouble all the time. I just feel that it's just too weak to fold this. I mean, obviously I could make the nuts here. Could also make 8-7-5-4-3. So normally with a one card draw, especially when it goes multi-way like this, you must uncap it, right? In a cash game, I'd cap this. If I decided to play it, I would cap it, right? But because it's a tournament and I don't know these people, I play it almost never. I'm probably not going to see these guys again very much, so I don't have to worry about the information I give them so much. So I decide to not cap it. If it gives away the strength of my hand a little bit, well, it's not the end of the world here. So 2-1-2. So he kind of donks there again. It's not actually a donk bet, but he's betting into the guy who drew fewer cards, which is not a play I would ever make, I don't think. Not normally, anyway. So anyway, and then he draws 2 again. So he's just getting all his money in regardless. He's low on chips. even worse than me, right? So now I miss again. I'm going to have to call a bet here because again the pot's pretty big. Miss again, right? 10-7's not good enough here. He just checks it back though, and I actually don't lose by much. He had 9-8-7, right? So yeah, just so he's panning some rough hands. Now this is a funny one. So I remember this one being a particularly amusing hand, actually, because I've got 6-4-2 and they're all suited. So remember, you've got to dodge flushes here. So flushes are not such a big deal most of the time. Straights are often a big deal because the best hands you can make are also close to straights, right? 7-5-4-3-2, it's the nuts, but it's also close to a straight. So the straights come into play all the time. Flushes come into play far less often. And of course, I could also make a straight and a flush, or a straight flush. But of course, it's less of an issue when you've only got three to a straight. When you've got three to a flush, sorry. When you've got four to a flush, obviously the chance of you hitting a flush go up a lot more. So anyway, but by hand, I think my hand is still good enough on the cutoff to raise, even with the flush draws. It doesn't eat into your equity that much when it's a three card, three to a flush. So anyway, so he calls. We go 3-2. Yeah, okay. So there you go. I hit my flush. Isn't that just fantastic? But and obviously I have to get rid of the 9. I've got 8-4-6-2. I can make it's a kind of a skip straight flush draw, and so I have to bet this though because he drew 3, and I'm on a 1 card draw, so I absolutely must bet this. I'm still an equity favourite here. I've got to be. He draws 2, I draw 1. Oh, and that's really, really nice. I hit my best possible card, the 3 there, to give me number 6, and the 3 that's not that doesn't make a flush. So I have 3 outs to hit that, and um, he bets. He donks into me again, so he's got no idea how to play this game, and I obviously raise. So he's given me. He drew 2, I drew 1, and he just bet out there. That's just too awful to even describe. I raise. What does he do? He just folds. So that doesn't make any sense. If he wants to play aggressively there, check raising me there. If I didn't have that hand, would put me in a if because I'm betting there regardless, right? I'm getting there regardless of what hand I hit, what card I hit. So he's got to. I mean, yeah. He's got to check to me. And if he wants to check raise me on a bluff, that's fine. That's a good play a lot of the time. So, okay. At least you have the sense to know that I'm probably we actually have a good hand there. So he opens there on the button. This other guy, what's he going to do? He's playing very slowly, this guy, which is quite annoying. He calls, I just call away. Someone keeps sending me bloody messages. 2-2. I miss, completely miss. Still got a good draw though. 2 bets went in before the draw from each of us, so we'll have to call here, obviously, if there's a bet. And there is one. If he raised here, that would be interesting. Taking his time, isn't he? He's a bit of a pain, this guy, on this table. I remember, so I just call. He folds, which is kind of weird. What would you fold there with? Okay. And now he's pat, so I have to, obviously, I check. Right, so he went from 2 straight to pat, didn't he? And I hit 8-8. I'm not going to bluff here. I could bluff into him in certain circumstances, but I just feel this guy is just going to call. That's just my impression. That there's no point in bluffing here. He's just going to call too often. So what's he going to do? He checks it back, and he had it. Yeah, he was definitely calling with that. He had the worst possible 8, but he's not folding there. Number 18. So I've got only half the chips I started with. Oh, how depressing. Um, and I've got 8-4-3, which is not a terrible two-card draw. If it gets 3-bet, though, I might just let it. I might dump it. Yeah, so I do decide to dump this. I don't have blockers or anything. I don't have a 2. Somebody could easily have a 2 and a 7, and God knows what. I could end up making a second best hand quite often. As I said, my draw's not bad, but when it goes multi-way and 3-bets, decide to dump it. Don't know if that's too tight, but that's what I decide to do. Lots of bets going in here. Big pot here. 3 bets going in each 4 ways, right? And there's 2 people on a 1-card draw. So surprised I didn't actually get cat there. Probably should have done. Just 1 bet going in on the flop. Everyone's calling, obviously. Now 3 of them are on 1-card draw. No one's pat yet. You go bet, call the bet, call the bet. So is he going to raise? That'd be interesting. Can't remember how this plays out. Not in the hand, but it is a big pot, so it's kind of interesting. He folds, but it's kind of what would you fold there? But nobody's definitely pat yet. So he's not his plays are not making any sense at all. So now somebody is pat finally. So on the river now, a pot that's almost the same size as your initial starting stack of 3,000. And so this is fascinating. He had 10-9, and it beat what the other guy had. So you made Cincinnati hit a 10-9 on the river, 10-9-7, whatever, and then it was the best hand. It's completely mad. None of that makes any sense. I mean, so okay. Don't think I actually saw what he had. So I'm in 17th place out of 21, with half my original chip stack. Ugh. You see, it's been just been a downward kind of spiral for me. Going for about 40 minutes at this point, which I think was longer than the other time I tried to play the game. Oh yes. Oh, so there's another hand there where you had 10-7-6-5-4, which is a funny hand to have. People don't seem to care whether they can make straights or what. They just play anything. So anyway, I've got a big hand here. 8-8-4-3-2. A miss. Done a fair bit of that today. Decide to bet actually because I don't think he's going to bet. I don't think he's going to do the work for me. This time we go 1-1-2. This time I don't bet. And okay, so that's the problem, right? So 10. Decide to just check. He bets. I call. He's got number 2. I mean, I was a little bit passive there. I reckon I could have put another bet there, but you know, as it's sort of worked out for me. I call there because he could be bluffing sometimes. So anyway, and I've got a 2-card draw here. I'm thinking this is likely to be my best, my last hand of the tournament. So it's quite likely that's going to be the case. So on the cutoff, I've got 6-3-2. Another bet goes in here. Might not actually mean a lot from him. Levy Devy Mon, okay, I call. I'm not going to be folding this at any point. If I don't win, this is my last hand. Maybe I'm going to win then. Maybe that means I'm going to win. So kind of a spoiler alert here. But I completely miss. I actually hit 2 pair here. We go to the second draw here. He's taking his time, isn't he? God damn it. Okay, I just call here. I might as well put all my money in, to be honest, but 1-1, draw 2. And look at that, I hit number 2. Isn't that fantastic? And I'm thinking, well, Maybe somebody's going to hit the nuts on me here. That's happened to me before. It'd just be my luck, wouldn't it? That Levy Devimon's actually got the nuts here. So and they're both pats. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to see the nuts here. I've got the second nuts, which is it was an amazing hit there, by the way. And and he doesn't have the best hand, and I have so the second best hand was a 10-5. Well, that's funny. So I stay alive in the tournament, surviving by the skin of my teeth in a way, and this time I have a big hand, big starting hand. I can make number three, can make number three, number five, number eight, number 12. I've got them right. 1, 2 have to bet. This time I improve. I've got number 12. I'm not folding. See, I'm thinking I'm going to lose most of the time here, but I don't. I win. Also, you can't fold a hand that good against somebody like that. So, and what did he have? At 87542. 87632. Wow. So we were very, very close. My instincts were kind of right there that, it's going to be good enough of the time, but on the river, I didn't feel there was any value in actually betting there. I was probably just going to get raised all the time. If he'd bet, I would have called him. So, yeah, I felt I played that all right, that hand. So back to exactly the same starting, exactly the same chip stack as I started with. 28 people joined, or 28 entrants in the tournament, entries, um, and 9 eliminations already. We're going for nearly an hour. Not surprising. So this is one of those hands that doesn't have a juice that is still very, very playable in any position. The 8-5-4-3, 8-6-4-3, 8-6-5-3. Those hands are playable in any position, I would say. This one's not, though. This hand is, I think, probably people overrate a hand like that when they start out. This 6-5-3. That's just going to get you in a whole heap of trouble. So let it go. On the button, though, I think it's sometimes you want to actually hang on to that and keep the 9-6-5-3. I think it's playable on the button sometimes. Certainly, if you're a heads up, you've got to play that. Hang on to the 9 there. Maybe even three-way or something. Yeah. It's one of those hands that if you're very good, if you're like an expert in the game or something, you're certainly very playable. And if you're, post-draw expert. 7-2 with a bonus 2 under the gun raise sort of makes this hand less valuable, but now the pot's got boosted up a little bit. Had to call there. 7-3-2 have improved significantly. I'm probably still behind what either of you two might have. They both drew 2, so one of them's probably made something. And he bets there. I call, have to call there. Go and I improved meaningfully. I've got a draw. I can make the second nuts, the third nuts. He's probably just wanted to get all his stack in, but he is pat. Go and hit 8-7-6-3-2. Certainly can't fold here. He's only got 250 left. And as it turns out, I have the best hand. I didn't decide to bet there because there wasn't really any value in it, I didn't think. 7-2, and they're both suited. When you only that hardly makes any difference when it's a 3-card draw. I decide to raise. I think I have to raise there. And he just folds. That's all right. And suddenly I'm up to 5,600. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Well, I won a big pot, a couple of big pots. That's what happened. That helps. From basically no chips at all. I'm in business. So it's 8-6-4-3, one of those hands that doesn't have a juice that's very playable. 3-1, isn't that wonderful? I miss though. Have to bet. Calls me. There we go. 1-1. And unfortunately, I miss. Have to call here though. Unfortunately, he's pat, and I make number 9. But in fact, he bets. So there's no point. There's no value in raising here. I'm probably only going to be good like half the time. In fact, he's got to come out and bet there, maybe even less. But I don't. This guy's doing weird shit. Have to just call here. He's got the nuts. Wow. And but that's kind of illustrative, isn't it? That you know, even with him on a very good you know, well, if such a thing exists, a 3 card draw. I'm on a 1 card draw. Obviously, I was a favourite before, before the draws, but I'm you're not a huge favourite there. You're a significant favourite, but you're not a massive favourite. And this is the thing to remember in this game is that the hands run pretty close together. And I think that's one reason why I struggle a little bit. I think I prefer games where the your starting hands are a little bit further apart because one of the biggest mistakes people make is playing too many hands. And when the hands are not so far apart in value, like in equity or whatever, it's less of a sin to play too many hands. Like in Badugi, they're further apart. In single draw, they're further apart. In 5 card draw, they're further apart. But in this game, Hold'em, they're further apart. Omaha games, that's not the case. Um, so so anyway, and now I've got look what I've got here. I've got this flush problem again. Look at it. And this time it's a real problem. I've got 4 to a flush, um, and we're going capped here, which is not so great. But luckily for me, I hit one of my 6 outs to make a 7. Got number 4, and I just want to bet. If he raises, well, I'm just getting my money in there. Get as much money in as I possibly can. New picks still on a 2 card draw. There's a chance someone's going to beat me. There's always a chance of that when you don't have the nuts in this game. Your hands are always a little bit vulnerable. But he goes and misses. New picks missed as well. And suddenly I've got about 7,500. He was drawing dead to what I had, of course. And I now have a good stack. I'm in 6th place all of a sudden. And I've got another good hand here. Obviously, I'm skipping through. I'm fast forwarding through all the crap. Plenty of that too. And I just call his 3-bet there. Draw 2. He draws 2 as well. It looks like he might be. I decide to check here. Don't know whether. And I decide to. Now I have to bet because we went 1-2, and he's just getting it all in here. Damn, he's probably got a pat hand. He does. So this was a bit awkward, right? I actually had the best hand. I broke a hand better than he had, but because my draw was pretty decent underneath the 8-7-3-2, I think I had to do that with 2 draws to come. I think that was an absolute no-brainer to break that hand. I think the mistake there was not actually betting on the first draw. I had to bet there, right? So yeah, I think I had to bet there. He wasn't going away. It wouldn't have made any difference. I don't think. His hand was. He had a very very rough draw. So obviously him, patting that made a lot of sense. So he's a decent player actually. This guy, as far as I can see. So 8-3-2. I don't know whether an 8 blocker actually helps me. It might harm me. Have to call here. Against this, I'm raising the cutoff. I have position on him. 2, 1, 2. Unfortunately, I miss 9-9. Doesn't bet though, which is awful. So I'm very happy to take a free card here. We go 2. Nobody's improved at all, have they? 2-1-2. It's going to have to be. I think it's going to be pat here. That would be really bizarre. 2-1-2. Okay. Oh, he's disconnected now. So that's kind of weird. Unfortunate. I think he comes back though. If I remember rightly, he comes back. I improve. Have to bet. Ligrianu drew Drew 2, so I have to go and bet there. Now does Dave come back? If I'm pronouncing your name, Dave Z, 84. He does come back, but he folds. So he reconnected and then he folded, which is kind of a little bit weird. So 1-1. I go and miss. I check back. And luckily for me, he hits a straight there. I think he needs to bet there. I think he has to bet that straight. I think he really missed a bet there with that straight because there's going to be hands that I'm going to fold there occasionally. Like if I hit, say if I hit 8-8, I'm going to fold. I'd have folded the best. I'd have folded the best hand, so he has to bet there. So if he's not bluffing there, he's not bluffing with anything. So I was lucky I had the best hand there, despite basically completely missing. So I've got a heads up. This is very, very nice. 8-7-5-2 with a 2 blocker. Go 1-2, have to bet this. 1-1 this time. Oh no, it's 1-2. So I bet again. And with the card ahead, but this time he raises, I have to call. Now this time, I've got number 11 here, and I feel his range is actually going to be pretty. He's going to have a lot of sort of weak pat hands here. And this time I decide to bet. I feel like I have to bet there. I think it's close, but I think he's going to have hands that are worse than this that he's going to call with. If he raises, I probably still have to call. Let's see what he does. See what he does. He's getting 8-1 on a call here, you see. He makes the fold, which is kind of interesting. So I think he just didn't have a very good hand. It's interesting that he made the fold, though. Like, what else? What could I bet there that he would fold? It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? So this time, drawing 4 to a 7. Get a free look, which is always nice. When I go and hit a hand of sorts, right, I've got a kind of ropey 2-card draw here. I might take one off. But he's pat. This makes no sense at all. So you don't know what you're doing, clearly. So he's pat. He's pat, everybody. And we go 2-4-0, and he checks again. He doesn't put any money in. Now we go 1-2-0, and I've improved it to a ropey 1-card draw now. Love to hit a 2 here, or even an 8. And he's pat again. He doesn't bet. None of this makes any sense. On the river, I completely miss, which is a little bit frustrating. The pot is tiny, so I'm just folding. He folds. So obviously something's very, very weird with your play. So what does he do this time? The last time before the break, and I'm going to actually take a break here myself. So I just limp in here. I just tag along in the small blind with my 7-4-3. See what he does this time. Nigel Santi, if I'm pronouncing your name right. Let me know in the comments, Nigel, if you watch this video. And he's pat. We go 2-4-0-2. So I think I must make a note on him. He's also taking a long time, so he's just drunk or something. You know, it's nearly 3 o'clock. It's not too early for that. Where is he from? Belgium? Was it something like that? Where is he from? I can't remember. Okay, so I kind of improve here to a 1-card draw, but it's not a fantastic 1-card draw. It could be joined to a second best hand, but it's just so weird. No bets are going on any of the later streets. I would be betting. Now I fold, right? I fold, and now what does he do? And he folds too, and now it is break time. Was it? Oh yeah. Well, we come back. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and you're going to see how this hand plays out. So just coming back after the break, and I'm going to take a break as well. Okay, be back for part two. Don't go away.